What was the most interesting decade that you witnessed out of, people
Have been married?
No,
just out of all of it. Was it the 40s or the 60s or the 80s, or what was the most interesting decade?
I would probably say that the years that when Barbara left for college and I had the two other girls, they were still young. And I would say that whole time, from the time she was preparing to go to college till, because you'd seen what you were gaining, that you were finally gaining, because things are happening that you were wanting to happen. And I would say that would be the beginning of highlights, because you're working, both of us working together to make these things happen. But I'd say that was the one that was filled the most with decisions and acceptances and so on and so forth.
Well, you had Roy too at home, finishing up high school and so on. So yeah, that was probably an interesting time.
So it'd be 19, what?
Like
65, 66.
Well, if you're talking about the 60s, do you mean decades as we think of them as decades?
You know
or
whether however she thinks of it.
However she thinks of it, it's just a prompt.
Yeah.
I had the two babies new. Karen was only a year and a half old when you left. I was actually seeing my own life repeated, because I was 19 when my brother was born, and I was in the nursing training at the time when Mom had the baby at the hospital where I worked, but they wouldn't let me go and be with her because I hadn't been on maternity service yet. You had to do your service in certain areas, like 3 months or 6 months in pediatrics or OB/GYN, the whole thing. And I hadn't had mine, and they wouldn't let me come to her and be with her when she was in labor. And I would say that would be, once I saw my own life being repeated, her going to school and changing the atmosphere in our house about her, and Roy getting older, and then the two little ones.